Happy Monday, team. This one is for my friends, family, and people of the internet that have are not currently on a health and fitness journey or have been on one in the past but are kind of in an off part of, or off season for it. But it's also a great reminder for people that are in the midst of their health and fitness journey. So, the concept or thought I want to talk about today is practice over perfection. And why I said this is so good for someone who currently isn't in the midst of a health and fitness journey is because a lot of the times people don't get started because they feel like they can't be perfect with a plan they found online, or it just doesn't seem reasonable, or they don't know all of the steps that they need to take to get from point A to point Z, right? And they let that analysis kind of creep up on them and get the paralysis by analysis and just never get started. And for my people that are already in their journeys, I think it's important to reframe and think about this as well, because we can get so caught up on I need to hit these exact numbers in the gym, or I need to hit these exact numbers on my diet, or the scale needs to be at this by this date. And we get ahead of ourselves, and really what that's doing is setting us up for failure. Now, by no means am I saying that it's not good to have a plan, because it is, but let's be very honest about life in general. Things change. As humans, we have to constantly adapt to the things going on around us. And that's the same with our health and fitness journey. And that's why I really like the philosophy of practice over perfection. I am practicing being a different version of myself that will lead to the results that I want. So, what this looks like in practice is, instead of saying or being really black and white with your thinking of like, I either failed or I won, there's this whole range in the middle of, you know what, maybe today wasn't perfect, but I did get more steps than I have in the past, and I did make a better attempt at protein for dinner, and I did get to the gym today, right? So that's practicing being the version of yourself who has achieved the results that you want. Whereas if I think that I'm going to be perfect each and every day, what's going to end up happening is I'm going to get a few days where I do string perfection together. It's going to feel great. And then I'm going to get a few days where I start to not string perfection together. And those are the days that I'm going to start feeling shameful. I'm going to feel like I failed myself. I failed those around me. I'm going to be kind of having this sense of dread, and I'm going to lose momentum. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to realize I just don't want to do it anymore. Because let's be honest, it's not fun to feel that way. It's not fun to feel like you're failing. But if I just think about this as practice, if I think every day I go in and I practice these different things, these different habits that I want to include in my life, these different thought processes or ways that I eat or whatever it may be, if I go in and I practice it, I'm not putting the pressure of perfection on myself. All I'm asking of myself is some consistency and effort. And in the long run, consistency and effort is what's going to make all the difference in achieving your results. So, whether you're just starting, whether you're already in your journey, whatever it may be, I really want you to think about that on a day-to-day basis of like, what am I practicing today? And some days you are going to smoke it and it's going to be perfection. And that's great. Let's celebrate that. But that can't be the expectation, because that's all you're doing is setting yourself up to fail. And that's where so many people fall off. So I want you to go through and just make a list, and you can share it with me if you want, or you can keep it to yourself. But first, I want you to write out, what is the version of myself that I'm trying to become? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that person do? And then I want you to make a list of all the things you're going to start practicing to become that person. And by no means do I expect that you start practicing everything that version of yourself does, because it might be a big change, right? We need to make this doable. Again, I don't want you to feel like you're failing. But write out that list of things you're going to practice. Write out a few handful of things that's going to move you in the right direction. And then once you've really gotten good at those things. Again, they're not perfect, but once you've gotten really good at those things, then we grab another small handful and we start practicing those as well. Before you know it, the practice, that effortful practice, just becomes the way you are. And at that point, it's going to feel like, I blinked and I totally changed. In the process, it can definitely feel like a long time. But I want you to think about anything else you've accomplished in your life. When we look back on it, it usually seems like it goes really fast, right? Every once in a while, we can say, oh, that took a long time. But, excuse me, more often than not, it seems like, dang, that flew by. So take solace in knowing that even though we might move a little bit slower by chasing practice and not perfection, we're actually moving faster because you'll actually get to the destination rather than quitting beforehand. So again, make that note. Who is that version of yourself that you want to be? How do they look? How do they feel? What do they do daily? Then make a list of some things that you're going to start practicing so you can start practicing being closer to that version of yourself. I would love to see what you come up with. Feel free to share that in the comments. Shoot me a message, whatever it may be. If you need help going through this exercise, I'm here to help. But I hope you guys have a wonderful week. You get some good practice in, and we will talk soon.